Hello, students. Welcome to the English class again. We have been continuing with the explanation of the rat trap from Flamingo. So, let's start with the explanation and continue with it. In my last video, I have completed till persuasion, then he himself. Let's recapitulate how much we have done. We have seen that the iron master had come to the iron mill and found the Rattrap seller sleeping by the side of the furnace. And he mistook the identity of the Rattrap seller as to be one of his old regimental comrade, Niels Olof. Okay, and the Rattrap seller also did not try to clear the doubt. Instead, he pretended to be Niels Olof because he thought that the iron master would provide him with some money, and after taking the money, he would leave the place. Okay, but instead, the iron master welcomed Niels Olof, or the real rat trap seller, into his house for the Christmas Eve. Okay, and the rat trap seller didn't want to go. So the iron master had to give in, and he went away. Okay, but after say half an hour later, he sent his daughter, his eldest daughter Edla, to the rat trap seller in order to persuade him to go along with her to their house. So let's continue from here. She entered followed by a valet. Okay. She entered, followed by a valet carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. In the forge, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace. So Edla entered that particular area along with the valet. Now, who is a valet? Valet is a personal attendant. Okay, one who is attending Edla. Okay. So this personal attendant was carrying in his arm big fur coat. Okay, she was not at all pretty, so Edla was not very good looking, but she was modest and quite shy. Now this is very much important. Here we get one of the characteristic sketch of Edla, that she is very modest, right? Now, in the forge, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. So, in the evening, as it was, the master blacksmith, along with his apprentice, still was sitting on the bench, and the iron and the charcoal glowed in the furnace. Okay. Now, here is another word that is apprentice. Who is known as apprentice? Apprentice is a person who is learning a trade from a skilled employee. Okay, so the master blacksmith and his apprentice were still there in the forge, okay, doing the same old work. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his hat. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. So when Edla went there, she found that the stranger was lying on the floor. He stretched himself in front of that furnace, and he had a big iron under his head. Okay, he was sleeping there in a relaxed form. So the young girl went there, and immediately she lifted the hat of the peddler. This peddler was sleeping with one eye open because he was always at a risk. He was always worried that he might be caught by the police or something. So whenever he slept, he was half awake, or he was always alert. Okay, so immediately the man jumped. Okay, and he was quite frightened to see someone coming so near and opening his hair, or removing the hat from his face. "My name is Edla Wilmanson," said the young girl. "My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forge tonight, and then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. I'm so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time." So Edla went near, and in a very polite tone, and in a very respectable tone, she requested the peddler to accompany her to their house. Okay, that is, she wanted that means she wanted that means the man should be there along with them during the Christmas time. Okay, and she also expressed her sorry that Captain Van Stall was suffering so much. Okay, that his condition has fallen down so much that she is quite sorry for this entire situation. She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Either he has stolen something or else he had escaped from jail. She thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve." Now, these lines are very interesting and very important also. Here, here the author says she looked at him compassionately. This is one of the theme in my PPT presentation. I have told you that one of the theme of the rat trap is compassion. Okay, so here we find that Adla is a woman of compassion, right? And this is the virtue, or this value of Adla only transforms the rat trap seller, right? So very compassionately and with heavy eyes she looks at the rat trap seller. Okay, and immediately she understood that the man was afraid. Okay, the eyes of the man only told that he was afraid, right? So here we find that this thing that Adla had seen, that the man is afraid, shows Adla became sure that the man had either stolen, that is, either he is a thief, okay, or that he had escaped from jail. Okay, that means he is a jailbreaker. Okay, so now for these people who steals or who is a jailbreaker, they will be afraid. Now there is a doubt that if the man is a captain, then he cannot steal, he cannot be coming from the jail. Okay, so there rises the doubt in Edla that if the man is actually Captain Van Stall or not. Right? So here it is said that she thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came." So Edla tried to console and comfort the man. Okay, she understood she was very friendly and kind to the peddler. Okay, and also she gave the confidence to the peddler that the peddler can go to her house, right? And as freely he will go to the house of Edla, so will be freely he will be discharged from the house. That means once his real identity will be disclosed, the peddler will should not be frightened. He should be allowed to move out from the house, right? She said this in such a friendly manner that the Rattrap peddler must have felt confidence in her. "It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss," he said. "I will come at once." So the tone of the Edla was very friendly. Okay, so the Rattrap seller felt confidence that okay, he can accompany Edla, right? So he agreed and he said that since Edla was requesting him so much, so therefore he is willing to accompany her. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage, without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. So the valet gave him the fur coat, he put the fur coat over his rags, and then sitting by the side of the young lady in the carriage, he continued his journey towards the manor house. Now, while he was riding towards the manor house, he was having a kind of evil foreboding. Okay, now what is a foreboding? Foreboding means that there is some kind of evil thinking, okay, and evil thought that something evil is going to happen. Okay, some thought like something not very good thing is going to happen. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? He thought. Now I am sitting in the trap and will never get out of it. Now here comes the philosophy of the rat trap seller. Okay, he said that the world is a rat trap because the people are running after money, shelter, and heat and clothing, isn't it? Now this rat trap seller, he stole that crofter's money. Okay, so he is completely in the trap. Now he is moving towards shelter, heat, and clothing, okay, which will be given in the manor house. Okay, so he is moving more and more, he is being entrapping himself more and more into this rat trap, right? The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the iron master came into the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction of his old regimental comrade whom he had run across so unexpectedly. So the next day was Christmas Eve, and the iron master was very happy that he would be spending his time with his old friend, right? First of all, we must see to it that he gets a little flesh on his bones, he said to his daughter, who was busy at the table. And then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat traps, right? So this he told his daughter, the iron master told Edla that they needed to feed his friend very well and provide him with a better business, okay, and all this thing, right? Here it is said that first of all we must see that he gets little flesh on his bones, that he should be fed very nicely such that he becomes a little bit fat, okay, and then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat traps. That means he should be given some job or some business. Instead of selling rat trap, he can have some better life then. It is queer that things have gone downhill with him as badly as that, said the daughter. Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. Now, herein Edla is raising her doubts. Okay, Edla is saying that it is queer. That means she is doubtful, okay, about the peddler because this man does not show anything that is education in him. Okay, so Adela said that she was doubtful about the peddler as he didn't display the slightest sign of being educated. Okay, and she was also thinking a man who was in the regiment should go under such a condition, gone downhill with him. Okay, gone downhill, things have gone downhill means what? That matters have deteriorated or worsened so much. Okay, she could not believe that, right? You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. As soon as he gets cleaned and dressed up, you will see something different. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. The tramp manners will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. So where we find that Adla is having doubts, okay, that whether this is actually Rattrap seller or not, the iron master is very sure. Okay, he said that the previous night the Rattrap seller, his friend was wearing those tramp manners, means wearing those tramp dress. So once he will remove the tramp dress, what happened? His tramp manners will also fall down. Okay, and then Edla can understand that yes, this is his old friend Nils Olof. Just as he said this, the door opened and the stranger entered. Yes, now he was truly clean and well dressed. The valet had bathed him, cut his hair, and shaved him. Moreover, he was dressed in a good looking suit of clothes, which belonged to the iron master. He wore a white shirt and a starched collar and whole shoes. So the moment the ironmaster said so, the door opened and the stranger entered the room. And it can be seen that the stranger was now well groomed. He was wearing beautiful clothes which belonged to the ironmaster. Okay, and he was completely now shaved. He has cut his hair. He has bathed, and don't know after how many years or after how many days did he bath. But now the ironmaster really looked very clean and shaven. Okay, and so it is understood that his real identity will come up now, right? Because he is now clean shaved and bathed, so his face, which was hidden under behind the beard and those rags, okay, that will come up, right? But although his guest was now so well groomed, the ironmaster did not seem pleased. He looked at him with puckered brow, and it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. But that now, when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. So now, when this guest is wearing some good dress, okay, the ironmaster now realized that the tramp was no friend of his, that this tramp is not his friend, because the previous night when he had seen the ironmaster, seen this peddler in the dim light of the furnace, he had mistook him to be his old friend Nils Olaf, okay, but now in the broad daylight, with completely shaved and well dressed, when this tramp was wearing, he understood that this so the iron master have easily understood that this fellow cannot be his friend, right? So he had completely mistook him. That means he must have made a great mistake, right? Okay, when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for an old acquaintance. What does this mean? He thundered. Okay, so the ironmaster was very angry and he shouted out, okay, that what is the meaning of this? Okay, why, who is this fellow? The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. It is not my fault, sir, he said. I never pretended to be anything but a poor trader, and I pleaded and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge. But no harm has been done. At worst, I can put on my rags again and go away. So the iron master immediately shouted, okay, that is, what does it mean? Okay, so means who this person is. And the stranger made no attempt to dissimulate. Dissimulate means what? To pretend, okay. So the stranger did not pretend anymore, and so the stranger explained that he had never said to the iron master that he was Niels Olaf, okay, and he had even pleaded and begged for not coming to the manor house, okay. He also added that no harm had been done and he could put on his rags and go away, right? Well, said the iron master, hesitating a little, it was not quite honest either. You must admit that, and I should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in the matter. So the iron master says that it was not honest also, because when the iron master said that Niels Olaf, the what condition had become to you, and the Rattrap seller said that yes, things really did not go very well with me. That means if the peddler actually did not wanted to say accept that he was not Niels Olaf, but he did not say it in words that I am not Niels Olaf, isn't it? He didn't reject the idea. So of course the rat trap seller was not honest, and we know it very clearly also. Right. So the iron master got very angry and said that he would be calling the sheriff, and the sheriff will be telling him that what is right and what is wrong. Now, what is a sheriff? If you see here, who is a sheriff? Sheriff is the chief executive officer of a district having administrative and judicial powers. Okay, one who is also belonging to the police department. Okay. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. Now the tramp became very angry. Okay, he did not want to come to the manor house. They requested him and forced him to bring to the manor house. Now when he was called in the manor house, he is being threatened of sheriff and all these things. Okay, so he became very angry and he struck his fist onto the table. And then he said, now I'm going to tell you, Mr. Ironmaster, how things are, he said. This whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese rinds and bits of pork, set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. So here what happened, this rat trap seller is telling about his philosophy, that the world is a rat trap and they are being offered with various kind of foods and cheese. Now foods and cheese in the name of luxury, money and clothes and heating. Okay, so he says that this world is a complete rat trap, and the rat trap seller, the peddler himself, had been entrapped into this rat trap. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up into this, then you, Mr. Iron Master, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. Okay, so this person says that if the sheriff comes also, then the iron master should know that one day he himself will also be falling into this trap. Okay, big piece of pork means something like a huge lucrative offer, and he will be running after that, and he will find himself in the trap, and he would not be able to escape from it. The iron master began to laugh. That was not so badly said, my good fellow. Perhaps we should let the fair sheriff alone on Christmas Eve. But now get out of here as fast as you can. So the iron master laughed at this philosophy of this rat trap seller, of this peddler. Okay, so he said that okay, he would not call the sheriff because it is the Christmas Eve, but he wants that the peddler should immediately leave their house. Okay. I think okay, but just as the man was opening the door, the daughter said, I think he ought to stay with us today. I don't want him to go. And with that, she went and closed the door. So when the iron master told the peddler to move out from the house, Edla interfered. Okay, Edla said that no, this man should be leaving. Okay, she felt that the man should be staying along with them, and saying this, she closed the door. What in the world are you doing? Said the father. The father was surprised and asked Adla explanation of this behavior. The daughter stood there quite embarrassed and hardly knew what to answer. That morning she had felt so happy when she thought how homelike and Christmassy she was going to make things for the poor hungry wretch. She could not get away from the idea all at once, and that was why she had interceded for the vagabond. Okay, so actually, Edla knew from beforehand only that this person cannot be the regimental comrade of her father, that is Nils Olive. Okay, she was very much sure that this is a poor wretch, a ragamuffin, right? So she had been arranging the entire thing, making it very much Christmassy, that okay, a very poor person has come to their house, so she will make everything look like Christmassy over here. Right, and so now when this peddler will go away, her entire idea of celebrating the Christmas or giving something very generously to a peddler should not just be washed away. So therefore, she intervened, okay, and spoke on behalf of the peddler. Right. Okay. I am thinking of this stranger here, said the young girl. He walks and walks the whole year long, and there is probably not a single place in the whole country where he is welcome and can feel at home. Wherever he turns, he is chased away. Always he is afraid of being arrested and cross examined. I should like to have him enjoy a day of peace with us here, just one in the whole year. So the Edla is saying that she wants that the peddler should be staying there, okay, and enjoying the Christmas along with them, because she thinks it wrong to send him away. It was them who had brought the peddler here, okay. He did not want to come, okay, and now she was thinking, she was feeling very much sorry, okay. Here the lines of compassion comes where she says that he is walking and walking, okay, that the whole year he walks and walks, and that there is not a single place where he is welcomed or where he is being treated like a human being. So therefore he should feel at home, at least in their house, okay, and enjoy the Christmas, because this is the Christmas time, and Christmas is the time when you should be looking after the poor and helping them, right? Okay. The iron master mumbled something in his beard. He could not bring himself to oppose her. It was all a mistake, of course, she continued. But anyway, I don't think we ought to chase away a human being whom we have asked to come here and to whom we have promised Christmas cheer. So Edla says that this man had come to their house because they have requested the man to come. Okay, so they have no right to chase this man away now. The man has to stay along with them, and because they have promised him a Christmas celebration. You do preach worse than a parson, said the ironmaster. I only hope you won't have to regret this. So, the ironmaster says that Edla is a very good persuader and that she speaks like a priest. Okay, here we find that there is a word where he says that you preach worse than a parson. Parson means a church priest. Okay, so the way Edla told about Christmas and showing compassion to a person during the Christmas time, so the ironmaster said that Edla is like a parson, okay, bringing in the goodness of human being, right? But then the ironmaster also warns Edla that she should not regret her decision. The young girl took the stranger by the hand and led him up to the table. Now sit down and eat, she said, for she could see that her father had given in. So the young girl took the stranger and told him to sit down by the table, okay, and then offered the peddler with lots of food and said that the peddler can eat now, okay. The man with the rat trap said not a word, he only sat down and helped himself to the food. So this peddler, he was provided with the food in front of him, and he was completely surprised, okay, seeing the entire thing. Okay, he was very surprised at the gesture of the peddler, right? So so the peddler was allowed to stay in for the Christmas, and he was given the food, and the rat trap seller, he did not have any word to say, because such kind of treatment he did not get. Okay, before, when he went to the crofter's house, there also he received a generous treatment, but the way, the compassion that Edla had shown towards the rat trap seller was completely different, right? Okay, students, so today I have explained till page number 40. That is, the man with the rat trap said not a word. He only sat down and helped himself to food. Okay, in this video, I will keep the explanation till here. In my next video, I will continue from the next line time after time, and there are only 2 pages. So in my next video, I'm going to complete the explanation of this chapter, right? If there is any doubt till where I have explained, then please do clarify it. Okay, ask the doubts in the classroom, right? And please study, everyone, study well, stay safe, right? Thank you, everyone.